The hardest part is getting people to tell you the truth.
Every single time I'm like, damn, I wish I knew that before I got involved.
AI does not know to look through lies yet. Don't tell me that there'll be accountants 20 years from now.
I would say the Zerg would happen if Neuralink wins. What is the hardest thing about acquiring companies with a goal to grow them?
I think the hardest part is getting people to tell you the truth, because at the end of the day, their goal is to get the highest multiple possible, most bang for their effort in the last few years. So they're obviously biased. We are lucky sometimes. We meet amazing individuals that are very upfront, very honest. They tell us how it is, but many people hide things or intentionally don't say certain details that then end up becoming headaches, months after the acquisition.
How do you find those before they become a problem?
Well, the main way you do that is by it's like when I don't know if you've ever had a massage, and the massage therapist, just works their thing on your back, and then they feel something. The moment they feel something, it's like they insist in that area. So we do pretty much the same. Like we have a standard of 21 questions, and we analyze stuff. And wherever we feel that something isn't adding up, we go deeper, and then we go deeper. Just for the sake of the audience, we have almost 170 questions total, that we go into. And for large companies, we asked all of them every time. For small companies, we just ask follow-up questions in the areas where we feel that we need to know more. And so the simplest answer I can give you is with experience, because the moment you buy one, or you buy a company, and then you start running it, you realize, oh, I should have asked about this. Oh, I should have asked about that. So because we've done it already many, many times, we already have like a backlog of I should have asked. And so we just ask that upfront.
Yeah, that's happened to me a few times. I haven't acquired a company, but I've invested in companies. And every single time I'm like, damn, I wish I knew that before I got
Mhm.
involved. And it was something that killed the company I just wasn't aware of, or yeah. So it's extremely painful for anyone that wants to get involved with acquisitions or investments. Do you have a tolerance threshold for failure?
Well, the way we buy and manage typically is that so far, in no cases have we been poorer at managing a company than the previous owners. We've at least matched the previous owner, right, in how well the company was run. Typically, we manage the company better. So, in what can happen in terms of failure is the market can change. So, let's say we invest in a company that does whatever. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. Maybe they're a grocery store, right? And then you buy that, and then Amazon just opens up next door or whatever, and so you can't really do much after that. Like prices are better, customer service is better, etc., etc., right? So it then becomes very difficult to sustain that business. So what you do, you need to change and pivot into something else, to do something else that is not directly competing with someone that has a budget, literally a million times bigger than yours. And so what you do is you take the time to pivot, and if you pivot into something that you don't want to keep, then you sell. You don't sell something that's dying. I don't agree with that. You should always sell something that has value. If it's dying, it has to be at a significant discount. However, again, because so let's say you buy a company now, you buy it for 5 million, then you grow to 7 or 8 million, and then a black swan event happens, which basically makes your company less valuable. So let's say now you have to sell at a 30% discount. But because you raised the bar to, 7, 8 million, the 30% discount basically gives you all of your money back, right? 1, 2 years later, or whenever that happens. So far, we haven't lost our clients' money, not even once, which is, not easy, but we always try to at least make their money back, and or our money, because we co-invest most of the time.
How much are you relying on artificial intelligence to make your investment decisions?
Very little, almost at all.
Why is that?
So people started talking about AI maybe a couple years ago, and people that I know, they know I'm an engineer, they know I'm very geeky. They come to me, Robert, did you see what AI can do, and so on and so forth. I was like, guys, what are you talking about? Right? Number one, this isn't real AI. It's just generative. You just feed it text and it spews out text based on what it knows, right? And then number two, we've been building AI since 2016, right? So 10 years ago, a decade ago, we were building it like actual AI, smart um, computer. Let's say we call them language models, right? So we would build these language models way, way before AI became cool. So AI became cool, let's say in 2022, 2023, something like that. Again, 7 years before that, we were already building LLMs. And in that world where we were building artificial intelligence for banks within the US, for the US Athletics Corporation, for various different entities that really wanted to be innovative, I can tell you that real AI is nothing like ChatGPT, right, or whatever. So um, it feeds off of information that it has. And because it does that, it can be only as helpful as the information it has. It can't be more helpful than the information. So, what we do, so for example, let's say you ask it to write a script, an email script, right, for outreach, B2B, whatever your market is, you tell it what you need, and it writes a script. 90% of the time, AI generated scripts underperform the scripts we have in our marketing agency. A marketing agency that has been, conducting business since, maybe 12 years ago, right? We have millions of data points on what scripts actually work and which scripts actually fail. So AI looks online, looks at blogs, looks at wherever it looks at, right? And then pulls scripts like what you should write and then gives you that as an option. But it's inferior to an actual agency that will not tell you its exact scripts and how it gets, 60% open rate, and a 7 to 8% reply rate. You know, we have huge, let's say, advantages because of what we have internally. Likewise, with M&A, it's all deal by deal. You have to look at every deal. And there are patterns, I will admit, right? However, um, AI does not know to look through lies yet, right? So people tell you stuff and you know it's a lie, but the AI will not know. It will not be able to figure out the lie. So right now it can be helpful, but it it would take more to figure out if the AI is true or not in its assumption than it would take to just um, get to your own conclusions yourself. Again, within the world of M&A, I'm talking. You can easily give it, a balance sheet or a P&L report, and it can give you a valuation based on comparables, blah blah. So that stuff is easy, right? But when you actually analyze a deal, at that part. Maybe by the end of 2026, we'll have some AI, or maybe in 2027, but right now, that's not the case yet.
Quick break. I put together a free guide called Network Before You Need It. It's 6 lessons I learned that helped me create over $100 million in value for my network, generate over $15 million in revenue for my businesses, and fundraise over $8 million for my businesses and my clients. If you want to build relationships that work for you before you need them, go get this guide right now. The link is in the show notes. Okay, let's get back. I'm still discovering what AI can and can't do. And I recently built myself a podcast guest operating system where, like, I've got one that I've built to manage the people that I interview, but I also built one to help me manage being a guest on other people's podcasts. And I wanted to automate the pitch part as well. So it surfaces the potential podcasts that I should reach out to, and then if I approve it on the spreadsheet, it'll enrich it with data and then draft a pitch and send it. So originally I was like, well, I have this template pitch. It's kind of about me. It's very short. It's brief. It's something that would tell me if I'd want to interview someone or not. So let me send that. And I sent it to a podcast that I quite liked. And their immediate response was, sorry, but we don't think you're a good fit. And I was like, okay, there's a problem here. my pitch turned them off. Let me start again. Let me actually read their description because the AI wasn't doing that. I said, let me read the description and let me write something that's from me, purely from me, a few sentences at most. And I did that because it's about productivity. And so I talked about in my new message to them how I had a company that was really successful, and then I took money to start another business, and that business failed. And part of the reason was I was too busy being productive about the wrong things and pissing off my employees and all sorts of things. And so I wanted to share about that. Their response to that was, well, we're currently busy for the next few months. Reach out in September and we can talk about it at that time. But right now we're like really full. So it went from a flat rejection to, well, actually, that sounds interesting. And it's because I was willing to, instead of saying, thank you for your time, going, no, I'm the problem. I trusted the AI to do something I shouldn't have trusted the AI to do.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
now I've had to remove that part. And so I can still automate the surfacing, but I have to manually research, do I actually like them? Do I feel good about what they do? And what is going to get them to want to respond to me? Because when people pitch me, I don't really get why this is a good fit for your audience. Some of the times it's more like this is who they are and what they've accomplished. And sometimes it's exciting and sometimes I don't really care. And so I guess I was ignoring my own feeling about that and doing the same thing to them that other people do to me. Um, so
Exactly.
so yeah, I'm learning, and I think it's important for people to be able to understand what AI can and can't be trusted with. And so I think it's great that you're aware enough that the AI can handle calculations, but that it can't be trusted to surface lies yet. But I think you have the potential to train a model to understand lies based on the pitches you get for people to work with you. So, how can, despite AI's advances, we keep M&A human? Because at the end of the day, probably a lot of the people you're talking to are probably middle age or retirement age, I'm imagining, or they've got kids that aren't interested in the business. I've heard this is a huge problem right now, and so maybe there's a lot of opportunities for those kinds of acquisitions where they've probably never used AI. They probably don't know how to use AI. They probably haven't implemented AI in their business. There's probably massive opportunity to automate, but at the end of the day, you have to have a human relationship with them to get the deal done, right? So how do we keep M&A human as time goes on?
Well, I think the answer might surprise you, but I think that AI will become more human. Because if you look at cars and the way they are designed, they are not designed for optimal efficiency. They are designed for optimal comfort, right? Like you have the pedals where you, as a human, have legs. They have the gear shift is where you have your right hand, right, or left hand, depends, right? The steering wheel is right here. Everything is designed for you. And you can look at the chair, look at the table, look at everything that you use is designed for you, the headphones, everything. So we don't design things that are optimal. We design things that are optimal for us from our perspective, right? And so we will slowly but surely create AI that is extraordinary for us. So in, give it, 10, 20 years, whatever, you'll have a robot around your house, that cleans and feels like they're a human, like Terminator style, like you won't be able to tell, that because you will feel more comfortable. You're not going to look at the stainless steel metal walking around the house, looking all incredibly fierce, and it can kill you in any moment, type of deal. And then they are just picking up, dirt from the ground. Like, you're not going to do that. They're going to have the exact body that you wish for your butler or maid or whatever to have, right? And that's going to be it. Not because that's optimal, but because that's what we are comfortable with. So the exact same thing will happen with AI. Give it maybe 1 to 2 years, and digitally, I will be able to create a digital avatar of myself that looks exact like me, sounds exact like me. You will not be able to tell. I could have this podcast delegated 2 years from now, right? And you can delegate yourself on the podcast. You're like, oh, I want to have 10 podcasts a day, but you know what? I don't feel like waking up today. No problem. The AI will handle it, right? And so I'm not saying that's a good future. I'm just saying it is what is going to happen. Like, don't tell me, video AI and voice AI and all of these virtual versions of AI will not evolve so much that they will be indistinguishable from us. So you won't care. That's my answer, right? 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, AI will, just like you use a smartphone now, and 20 years ago, smartphones weren't a thing, but now everyone uses one. 20 years from now, everyone will be using AI and no one will care, right? You won't you won't even think, like, those conversations of what should we eat tonight won't happen. Your maid already ordered pasta because they know that's what you will crave tonight, because in the morning you ate I don't know what, and that by default will give you a craving for something else, right? Those things will already be figured out by the AI, and the only reason we're building AI is to have better lives for ourselves. It's very selfish. Everything we do is selfish for humanity. The cars, the everything is just so we have a better life. The poorest person, or some of the poorest people in the US right now live better than the richest kings from a couple hundred years ago, right? They have access to more stuff, like to books, to knowledge, to food, to shelter, to whatever, to warmth, to comfortable beds and so on, right? And the richest kings from 200 years ago, they didn't have heating. They couldn't eat in the winter, just maybe grains, because that's the only thing they had left over, if they had any, etc., etc. So maybe 200, no, but 500 years ago, definitely. 200 years ago, you already had the agricultural revolution. But my point is, every decade or so, especially now, the amount of comfort is insane that we get, and AI is just part of that comfort.
Is this part of the thesis that you execute on with the companies you're acquiring? Or because I've spoken to a private equity person who only invests in businesses that AI won't touch.
So businesses that AI won't touch. Someone that says that is someone that's not an engineer. Any engineer will tell you that all industries will change 100%. Why would I put in jeopardy the lives of 100 construction workers when a robot can do that, and it doesn't need time off. It's not going to ask for a salary. It's not going to eat. It just needs electricity. So I literally just power up. I put in some high tech. Imagine 20 years from now, super high tech solar panels, that power my entire workforce of 20 robots, and they'll build the house or the building, whatever. Yeah, and by the way, they'll do it perfectly. No mistakes. Every tube, every electrical wiring, everything will be done perfectly, right? They will not, jeopardize your material. It's going to actually be more cost effective. I don't tell me there'll be people driving buses 20 years from now, because that's just false. There won't be. The bus will drive itself. Don't tell me that there'll be accountants 20 years from now. Why would you have an accountant when it's just math? Sincerely, like, what was the point? Why would you have a lawyer where all laws are very clear? They're very cut and dry, right? You'll have AI just building the most amazing contract, and the AI negotiating with other AI, making compromises on each side, just so that they can reach settlement or whatever, right? When you will sue someone 20 years from now, you will just tell the AI to sue them, right? And then a few days later, you'll just either get money, or you realize you lost the lawsuit and you'll have to give them money or whatever. All industries will change. There isn't a single industry that won't change. Why would you have cleaning ladies? Why would you have anything that you have today, if AI can do it in the future? The only difference is that they don't see the future. They don't see enough in advance. So they say, well, in the next 5 to 10 years, you'll still use electricians. Okay, fine, you will. But 20 years from now, you won't. Right. So just because it's valid for 10 years doesn't mean it will be valid in 20.
Do you have a utilitarian view, or like a positive view of the future for this, or do you think this is a negative thing?
The only problem of humanity is the ego. We have ego, right? If you look at certain presidents that I'm not going to name, today that get elected, and you look at other individuals, and how they deal with stuff. Ego really is the enemy. There's a book on it, and that's the title. Ego is the enemy. But if we get to a level of consciousness as a society where we somehow manage to put love above everything else, then we will be fine. If we don't manage to do that, then psychopath will still be a thing, because psychopaths is like a mental illness, right, that you have, and you can it's literally, I'm sure they'll figure out what parts of the brain make you be a psycho, right? And so if we will be able to remove that gene, or that defect from humanity, because I really think it's like a defect, right? Why wouldn't we just be good and kind to one another?
I could tell you why.
So
The people that run the biggest companies in the world have psychopathic tendencies.
yes, yes, I know, but you don't need to run the biggest companies in the world. You don't need that. Like, so, have you ever played games? Like StarCraft, for example,
Yeah, I played Counter
um,
Strike.
Counter Strike. Yeah. So there's a game called StarCraft. In StarCraft, you have three, let's say, main entities. You have the Terrans, obviously us, and you have the Protoss, which is basically a very highly evolved species, and then you have the Zerg. So the Terran, and fast forward, 500 years into the future, whatever, technology and so on and so forth, AI, etc. So the Terrans are basically incredibly corrupt. It's a dominion. It's called the Terran Dominion, right? It's a form of democracy, but it's actually, closer to Russia at peace. Let's say, you can't really say, whatever. You have propaganda, etc. So people feel okay, but the reality is that the government controls everything, right? And so that's the humans. Then you have the Zerg. They're like insects, if highly evolved, whatever. They're like ants. The ultimate form of what's that, populism, or whatever, where everyone has one goal, and this is what, like, it's like no one's unhappy, because I understand I was born to do this and you were born to do that, and everyone just has one brain, they share, and they take everything forward. So that's a perfectly reasonable outcome. And then you have the Protoss, who are my favorite. They're humanoid in nature, like that's how they look like us, but the difference is that they are all connected, um,
A
through,
hive
I can't
mind.
remember how it's, like a hive mind, but it's like, telepathy. They all share a brain. They all share thoughts. You cannot lie as a Protoss to one another, because I can hear your thoughts, even if you're on the other side of the galaxy, right? I can hear your thoughts and so on. And so that leads to the highest form of civilization, at least the way I see it, right? Because then there is no corruption. There are no negative thoughts. There's just, how can we do good together. Some people will naturally be gifted towards being warriors, some people will naturally be gifted to be scientists or researchers, other people will be teachers in schools or whatever, right? And so you have those talents, or as a society, and everyone has their role based on what they're naturally gifted to do, and that will make them happy, and so, but they can choose, to do whatever. So you have freedom of choice and so on. So that's the ultimate positive form. The ultimate negative form is, what you have on the Terrans, where psychopathic people, rule the world, basically, and it's an um totalitarian regime, and you feel you have some rights, but the reality is you have none. It's just because you're not interesting enough to the government, they leave you alone, etc. So those two things can both happen. I don't know which one will happen. I can be hopeful, and optimistic. I hope we go more towards the Protoss.
I would say the Zerg would happen if Neuralink wins.
Yeah, the thing is that um, you would have to have a commanding chief.
Elon Musk, obviously.
So Elon Musk will die, probably, and I'm not sure because it's just he's relatively old. You and I might not die because we're like in our 30s, so we will evolve enough, so that you can live to be a few hundred years old, and then if you live to be a few hundred years old, we might invent something, that makes you basically live forever. But I don't know if Elon Musk will get that. I think he's like 60 something. Maybe he might live forever as well. But um, the point is that um, he is not all knowing. He makes mistakes. Probably makes a lot of them.
Yeah.
I don't know because I don't know the guy too much, but I do know that someone insulting people outright is not the wisest of them all, right? It's just that can't be true, right? So the reality is that I don't know that there are people that would be able to run with wisdom. I don't know if AI can. AI probably can. I've seen some very grim movies about the future, that are together with AI. One of them is Upgrade. I haven't slept well for 3 days after I've seen that.
Mhm.
Um, but it was crazy. I recommend you see it. It's a perspective of the future that's not so bright with AI.
What's the most important thing you've learned in your life so far?
I think it's probably to be loving, towards everyone and towards myself. Not easy all the time because you have your own trauma that you deal with, and your own shortcomings. I see the thing that affects us most, or at least in my case, it's tiredness. You want to do so many things, and you want to be a good father and a good husband and a good entrepreneur and someone that takes care of their health and someone that talks to their mother and father, and spends time with them, and blah blah blah. And the list is never ending, of the things that you want to do at the same time. And so you make compromises or you strategize, right? And so you get to a point where you're tired, and you're less loving, because you're tired. It does come naturally at one point. It's like you're just you don't insult people, or you're not that angry or whatever. But I think that if humans learn to love themselves and others more, and like make it not like a woo woo thing, like add conscious effort towards becoming better. Just like you would add conscious effort, let's say if you go to the gym and you want bigger muscles, it's like a conscious, dedicated effort. Or let's say you want to learn a language or you want to learn piano, it's like a skill. So learning to love is a skill. And so people, if we would dedicate time daily to reflect and to become more loving, if everyone would do it, even psychopathic people, if they would realize like that it's a priority, and if they would learn, their ego would make them want to become the most loving person on the planet to some extent, right? So it would work in their favor to a big regard. And that's what I think is the thing I've learned. That's like the most important thing I've learned so far.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this insight, I've handpicked another video for you right here on the screen. For more actionable strategies that get you real results, hit subscribe.